sign up for health insurance during the open enrollment period at the end of the year. But did you know you may qualify for a special enrollment period at any time during the year? Florida Health Connector can tell you if you're qualified for a zero premium plan.
Call Florida Health Connector today at 850-249-1010.
Florida Health Connector. We connect you to blue.
Man, is it hot. Not only is the weather hot, the savings on name brand Western wear at that boot store is sizzling. During their 60th anniversary celebration going on now. Shop the hot deals in air conditioning comfort and be amazed at the tremendous selections of Carhartt work clothes and Western wear available at that boot store. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 until 5:30. Next to Bill Berkey at 15th Street, Panama City. That boot store where God is good all the time.
Hi, I'm Anne Margaret. I went to Vietnam to entertain the troops. In 1966 and 1968, my guys, my gentlemen, if you lived through the Vietnam War era, you know the impact that the war had. But today, we are in danger of history being lost. Current generations know very little about the war or the people who served it. As more of our Vietnam vets pass away each day, their stories are being lost to history. Together, we can change that. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund is the organization that built the wall. It works to ensure that future generations will understand the war's impact. Let's help keep the promise that the wall was built on. Never forget. Visit vvmf.org to find out how you can get involved.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
What is going on, Northwest Florida? You're now in the doghouse riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. Tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 right here in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with Fano and Caveman Rick. Adam Goff back in the building with us after what? Just a 2-week hiatus?
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah, it's been 3 weeks, I think, since I've been here. So
right. So
hiatus,
missed 2 weeks, but back here on the third week, under the weather for the 2 previous weeks, and only having
under condos.
Yeah. My goodness gracious. And we had a little water spout out there at Panama City Beach today as well, right? Right by the whereabouts that you're working.
Pier Park. I think it hit ground. Came ashore right around Calypso. So
yeah, hopefully.
Scary.
I don't think anyone was injured or
not that I know of. No.
So if you do hear anything different, let us know over here, and we'll let the rest of the city know while we're at it. Kyle Albritton chiming in the chat today saying David Schwartzentruber today got the Baltimore Orioles cap on. It's just been tough to wear Brave stuff lately, man. Well, my goodness.
You are a bandwagoner. I mean, you're a Braves fan when they were good. You were a Titans fan when they were good.
Right.
I'm a Bama fan, right?
I started being a Bama fan in 2009.
So now when the Orioles are good, you're like, hey, I might as well.
Yeah, exactly, man. Ride the Orioles coattails. If it doesn't work out for them, then whoever's, representing the American or the National League in the World Series, I might just be a fan of both for that day. Kick the Tennessee Titans to the curb, Braves to the curb, Pacers, my goodness. Why in the world would I even like the Indiana Pacers?
So
I actually did like Rick Smits back in the day. Who needs to be my basketball team? It can't just be wherever LeBron goes. That time has come and gone.
Be a Jokic guy.
I'll just wait till the finals next year.
Okay.
Just wait till the finals.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Bandwagon and Dave, baby. That's what they call me. No, I'm a baseball fan, guys, so I love to wear different team hats. But yeah, those Braves have been going through it as of lately. You brought this up, we were talking on the couch before we got started, and you said this prior to the season starting. The Braves might be dealing with Murphy's Law, if you will, this year, might be dealing with the injury bug, and it's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids are the Braves, the people who got shrunk. And you know how the ants looked? That's the injury bug that the Braves are dealing with this year.
Even blooper. Your mascot's even got like a hamstring or some had a leg issue.
I bet the freeze isn't even frozen anymore.
But he's just scared of Ellie.
Yeah. Hey, Ellie is, he's a dog. There's nothing to be said. You can't say anything bad about, the only hole I think you could poke in Ellie De La Cruz is the batting average.
Well,
we're talking
batting
about
average is like 260 right now, which is still above league averages.
And I'll take 260.
His OPS is climbing close to 9 right now.
Yeah.
So the thing that is his glove right now, which he's still trying to figure out the whole defensive thing. He leads the league in errors, but the scary part about Ellie De La Cruz is he's finally starting to figure it out. Okay, he's finally starting to figure it out, and we're just past the halfway point. He's hitting 260 with 18 bombs, 47 RBIs, 51 stolen bases. I'd hate to see. I'd love to see what it looks like when he does figure it out finally. But we talked about this before the season. I said the Braves are going to be in a world of hurt, pun intended, if the injury bug does bite them like I think it possibly could. Because other than the Acuna injury the year you won the World Series, you hadn't really had a whole lot of
there wasn't a ton of injuries, right?
In terms of the injury bug. And this year it has reared its ugly head and
to the maximum.
It's not a bug, it's like a monster.
Yeah.
It is. It's like Godzilla, right?
Loch Ness. Here's your tree fitty.
Right. But that's what I said before the season is the Braves are going to be in a world of hurt because their farm system has been so depleted for the last couple of years that there's not a lot of help coming in the way of reinforcements. And, every Braves fans, including yourself, was, well, AA's just going to go out there and make a trade. He's just going to go get these guys. And it's like, well, okay, so now you're recycling Eddie Rosario in left field, right? Who couldn't make it on the Nationals of all teams.
Cheaper than $9 million for what they pay for.
And then you go and get Whit Merrifield, who is for whatever reason is on the backside of his career.
Sloppy seconds for the Phillies,
right? And so then you bring up Nacho. I think probably before he's ready. Now he had a hit today.
Yeah.
This is obviously earlier than the Braves wanted to.
Much more earlier than anticipated.
There was a necessity there, but outside of that, the Braves really don't have much.
I don't know. They just added some guy named Francisco Vicosio, and he's a pitcher in the Braves system. It's only thrown 3 innings.
I've seen that.
But so far, he's got 28 walks, 35 wild pitches, 4 hit by pitches, hitting batters, ERA of 20.
The final stat's my favorite.
3 fielding errors and 3 chances.
Yeah.
So, dude,
you 1,000%, brother.
Hey, dude, he's working. He's trying to find some help,
He modeled his game off of Charlie Sheen in Major League.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man, it's been a tough go, and now we've got your Cincinnati Reds, and that's one of those teams right now where you see that team on your schedule, and you're like, all right, this could be a bounce back series. Let's try to get 2 of 3 here.
100%, especially coming off of a 3-game sweep by the Reds by the Nationals.
Right, and it was not been that case. 4-1 in Game 1. Of the series. Rain out yesterday. You had the double dip today. Takes them 2 hours to play 5 innings because the Reds jumped all over the Braves. They get the 9-4 win. You'll have Game 3 tonight at 5:05. Well, how are you feeling about your Cincinnati Reds? Instead of talking so much negativity about the Atlanta Braves,
let's tough, man, because
parlay this.
Let's share the negativity, spread it around.
It's tough because you see the flashes, right? You see the ability to put it all together, but then you see them go out and do the same things over and over and over again, mistake-wise, right? Whether it's two plans, whether it's errors, whether it's situationally not understanding exactly what's going on. You have Ellie De La Cruz, who has more stolen bases than 7 other teams in the leagues right now.
Right.
Teams, not people, teams. And he gets on first base with a walk or something like that. And the batter that's behind him, whether it's Steer, whether it's Candelario or whomever it may be, they're swinging at first pitch, right? And it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Why are we, he is a walking double, right? Even if it's a single, he's going to turn it into a double more often than not if you give him the opportunity.
Right.
And that's the frustrating thing as a Reds fan watching is you see these flashes and this ability and this opportunity for them to really kind of seize the moment, especially coming out of the break when you've got 3 against Washington, which you should take 2 out of 3 minimum.
Right.
And you go in there and you get swept playing just poor baseball.
At least they're making the highlight reel. I mean, you're talking about Ellie stealing bases, or you're talking about Hunter Green making a nonchalant behind the back catch or something like that.
Hunter Green's been
but
stellar here lately.
just not getting the W's.
I understand he gave up the home run and took the loss in the All-Star game, but he has 1 earned run his last 20 innings pitched.
And we're talking about a tough all-star roster to go up against in that case.
But it's just been frustrating because you see the ability, but it's just not coming to fruition, right? And now you have Christian Yelich, who has just been diagnosed with more back injuries.
Tough for him,
he's
man.
going in to see a specialist. I think tomorrow is what they said on the broadcast today. Which again is tough because I like Yelly. I like watching the game. I like watching games when he's playing because he's good.
He plays the game the right way too.
I think so, 100%. So he's like the opposite of Ryan Braun.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So for me,
how long has Ryan Braun been retired for now?
I don't know, 5-6 years maybe?
Can't be that long.
I think it's 4 to 5.
Yeah.
Really?
Something like that.
I mean, it takes 5 years for you to get to, 10 years of MLB service, then 5 years afterwards for you to be able to start getting your votes on for the Hall of Fame. It does not feel like it's been 5 years since Ichiro retired.
Yeah,
but it has been starting in 2025.
The league misses Ichiro a lot more than Ryan Braun.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But it's been tough, man. But hopefully we can get the win tonight, sweep out the Atlanta Braves. So we'll see.
There you go. Ryan Braun is 40 years old. I'm trying to pull up when he retired. 2020. So it's when you say 2020, it doesn't feel 4 years away. But you're absolutely right there. And hey, we still have Ichiro playing baseball in America here. It's just he's just on steroids and loves betting. Shohei Ohtani. And I don't think Shohei Ohtani is on
and Shohei gambles.
Hey, there you go, man. But I don't think Shohei Ohtani's on any type of steroids. I think that man is just, golly, dude. I knew it was going to be trouble when he wasn't going to be spending any of his time pitching this year. Like the kid.
No, he's Japanese. It's not steroids. They got some natural thing over there, like Mr. Miyagi stuff that he's putting in himself.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Or that green tea stuff that, Daniel's son used to heal his foot super quick.
Maybe he eats bats. I don't know.
Yeah, like Ozzy.
There you go. Let's see what else we got today. The Braves. So no Braves coverage on tonight, being that the game's 5:05, and the way that we run our traffic around here and stuff, it was just too late when we found out yesterday to change anything for the clocks that we had going on today. So there will not be any Braves on tonight. But we'll get back to it. I don't even know what the schedule is for tomorrow. Yeah, I know that they play tomorrow, but if it's a early game, then we won't be airing it. So they've got the Mets 6:10. First pitch 6:10 tomorrow evening, Friday, same way. So it's going to be a 4-game set on the road in the Big Apple, taking on the Mets. I should have known that, because Callaway Steve was the one who he messaged me earlier, and he told me to give you regards, Caveman Rick. He said give Rick my best. But yeah, the fact that they were playing such a long game in the first half of a double dip, and then they've got to get on the plane and go up there to New York to Citi Field. So I don't know. And the Mets are a team that are vying for a wild card spot. So we'll have to see how that series goes, man. You let's say they lose the second game of the doubleheader tonight.
Here's a question for Braves fans: Braves don't make the postseason. Is Snicker gone?
I don't.
I don't think you can put it all on him.
No,
but there's been some questionable decisions even when they were healthy.
I would say that there's been questionable decisions made throughout his tenure, right? Questionable to us, but in his mind, the right call, and he's the manager, right? So I think that you have to give him another year because of all of the injuries that the Braves have dealt with. I think just off of that, when you're talking about missing your possible MVP, you're missing your 2023 MVP, your ace or your supposed ace in Spencer Strider, all-star pitcher Max Fried. You missed.
I thought Chris Sale would have been the healthiest pitcher in that rotation.
My goodness gracious! And then Charlie Morton just moving along like a locomotive, man.
Season's still only half done though.
Yeah,
Got
absolutely.
plenty of time with what's going on with the Braves.
So yeah, it's just been. I think that you give Brian Snicker
He's earned one more year.
one more year, absolutely, man. And the fact that the pitching staff has done as well as what they've done, without Spencer Strider, has been absolutely amazing. To be honest, because if the
Lopez
offense
stepping up,
yeah,
right?
no doubt. But to lose Spencer Strider as early as you did, and then for them, that's been the premier part of the Atlanta Braves, right? If they didn't have the pitching that they've had, we're not even looking at a team that's sitting at 500 right now, because the offense has been absolutely abysmal.
Yeah.
It really has. So that's a great question for Braves fans, though. And I'd be curious for our Braves fans listening, text in your answer, 850-215-6290. If the Braves miss the playoffs, should Snicker lose his job? That one's really tough, man. How about College Game Day?
It's right around the corner, like 31 days.
Yep. 31 days. Yeah. 31 days until Florida State, Georgia Tech. That's where they're going to be over there in Ireland. Pat McAfee is going to be back along with Nick Saban, Desmond Howard, Reese Davis is going to be hosting. And who else? Lee Corso.
Lee Corso. They're going to roll him out.
Back again for another year here. I'm excited about it because, again, like I said, as long as he is the one who's saying, I want to do this, then I'm all.
Surely he's not going to be traveling every week, right? And they'll probably have.
You think
him,
he goes to Ireland?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But
Okay.
I think what they end up doing with him is they end up making him more so like the mascot, as opposed to being one of the feature guys the entire time. But I mean, again, I'm like you. If he says he's good to go for
Need
it.
a good taxidermist.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get over to the phone line real quick here. Mark Adams with Four Quarters Football. They're going to be having the high school media days over there for high school football at Dave & Buster's tomorrow. Mark, what's going on, my man?
Hey, how's it going, guys? How have you guys been in this hot and sweltering summer?
We've been well. I think that it's the rain has been nice this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been okay. I've been enjoying some AC, but I try to keep from going outside too often unless I'm going to a football camp or a practice or something like that.
Hey, there you go, man. And I'm sure that it's hot as all get out when you're out and about, especially when you're in the AC. I know exactly how that is, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow at Media Day. We're going to be at Dave & Buster's again. Great environment, and I'm looking forward to kicking off the season.
Yes, sir. What are some teams that are going to be out there tomorrow afternoon?
So we've got all of the Bay Area teams, including Arnold. Definitely glad to see them back into the mix. Missed them last year, but they've got a brand new head coach, and I'm looking forward to talking to those guys tomorrow. We've also got a ton of Panhandle schools that are going to be coming down from the northern part of the Panhandle. We've got Chipley, we've got Graceville, just to name a few. So I'm definitely looking forward. I think we've got 16 or 17 in total.
Wow, 16 or 17 teams, and it starts at 2 o'clock tomorrow?
Yes, 2 p.m. sharp, and we'll be looking forward to handing out some game cards as well to some of those guys who are joining us on the panel. I'm sure they're going to enjoy really kicking it in the arcade at Dave & Buster's.
Hey, there we go, my man. Well, Mark, thank you so much for calling in and letting us know, my man, and cannot wait for that tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage everybody to take Dave & Buster's up on their meal deal. It's a great plan for them, so everybody can eat and enjoy some high school football action and enjoy the arcade at Dave & Buster's.
Absolutely. Great stuff, Mark. Is there anything else you want to leave the people with?
Nah, I'm just ready to spot the ball, man.
Hey, there we go. All right, Mark, we'll see you tomorrow, my man.
Absolutely. You guys enjoy it.
All right. Mark Adams does a wonderful job. 4 Quarters online. That's going to be the high school media days tomorrow afternoon. And just a great event for the kids, man. They really make it feel like media days for them. You see all the SEC media days, Big Ten media days going on right now. But Mark Adams and 4 Quarters online do a great job there and getting ready to kick off the high school football season, man. Going to be a lot of fun. I know I'm looking forward to August 23rd. 23rd, the Mosley Dolphins are going to be taking on, I believe it's South Walton in their kickoff classic. We won't be airing that game because that's a JV varsity type mixed game. So we're waiting until August 23rd, where I believe it's Mosley and Rutherford to kick off the season. So can't wait for that. And year 3 getting underway for doing a little high school play-by-play.
It doesn't seem like it was 3 years ago that we started that.
No, it really doesn't. How long does it feel shorter or longer to you?
It seems like just yesterday.
Yeah, it does. It feels like I'm going into my second year, honestly.
Right.
Like, it kind of feels, each year it feels fresh all over again. And so thankful for the opportunity. But, man, it's so much fun. I was listening to a game that me and Kyle called yesterday, a game against Navarre. And it's just like, man, these guys are pretty good at what honestly, I was thinking that, like, when I'm listening back to it, because I haven't done that to a lot of the play-by-play, and I was like, yes, there's a ton that I could get better at, no doubt about it, but, I can visualize what's going on in my head.
It, right? It's at the high school level.
Exactly. So we'll see what the future holds, though. You guys ride it with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We talked about some big questions yesterday. We got 4 more for you, this time for the AFC North. How long will it take us to break down these questions? Find out next on the Afternoon Underdogs.
Get ready.
Deep center field and heading for the horizon.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
Onions, pickles.
The Afternoon Underdogs
Way back and gone.
on ESPN.
Northwest Florida. For 7 years, ESPN Northwest Florida has been your destination on the Panhandle for the Atlanta Braves.
He just blew the doors off that thing.
But our listeners are the real MVP.
Another dominating performance.
So this year, we're giving away more tickets to Truist Park than ever before. Keep listening to win family 4-packs to experience the Atlanta Braves. From ESPN Northwest Florida, PCB Hobby, Pepsi, Fairfield, Hampton Inn on Thomas, and Home 2 Suites.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. A chance of thunderstorms and light rain the remainder of the day with a wind out of the south-southwest around 11 miles per hour and 87. Tonight, look for likely thunderstorms and moderate rain with a temperature near 80. Tomorrow, a high around 88 and a possibility of thunderstorms and moderate rain. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey there, folks. Looking for a place that feels like home right in the heart of Panama City? Well, look no further than Charlie Corm's Place at their new location on 15th Street. Charlie Corm's is not just a place, it's an experience. Imagine cozy corners, friendly faces, and the aroma of delicious dishes that'll make your taste buds dance. From sunrise breakfast to late night bites, Charlie Corm's on 15th Street has it all. Charlie Corm's Place on 15th Street is now offering exclusive weekday lunch specials. Visit Charlie Corm's Place on 15th Street. Look for the giant mural.
In the jewelry business, there is no substitute for experience. David Adamson has over 46 years of experience, 32 of those in Lynn Haven. Designing and creating fine jewelry is more than a job for David, it's a joy. If you're looking for a spectacular jewelry design that says you, or perhaps you need your jewelry repaired, look no further than David Adamson Designer Jewelry. All work is done in-house and always to your complete satisfaction. Stop in today at David Adamson Designer Jewelry, 830 Ohio Avenue in Lynn Haven. They're on Facebook and at pcjeweler.com.
When the sun sets on the Emerald Coast, the freaks come out and play.
Hi, I'm a recovering crackhead.
Hand me that shotgun.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Get on your knees!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Got a few answers from Braves fans here on if Snit should get fired if the Braves do so happen to miss the playoffs here in 2024. From Coach Olds, no, too many injuries to blame him. James Kelly, he has one more year to get it together. Rick Ty says Snit stays at least another season regardless. Also, all these injuries definitely affect morale in the clubhouse, no doubt. And we've got one from someone who I don't know who it is. Text your name in 1455. No way should he be let go. Injuries to Acuna, Ozzie, Strider, and they still took 2 or 3 from the Phillies just a few weeks ago. They are overcoming, and if they get healthy and get hot going into the playoffs. Watch the blank out. Go Braves. Love that text there. Loved all of those texts there. And I'm right there with you guys. I think with all of the injuries, there's no way that you can let Snick go after this year. You got to give him the remainder of this year. We also got to see what Alex Anthopoulos is going to do here at the trade deadline. Maybe he can work some magic. I think that's a lot. I mean, I think you got to name a famous wizard or magician in the movie world. Merlin. There you go. I was trying to think of something. I obviously I would have never came up with a name, but something along the lines of, is that Lord of the Rings?
No.
Like Lights of the Round Table, King Arthur, Merlin, man.
Again, there was a reason why I said I had no idea, man. We know
Gandalf is Lord of the Rings. I was going to say like Wizard of Oz, man.
Wizard of Oz, I do know that one now.
Phony.
That's about the only.
Well, the thing is you look at what's out there right now in the free agent market, right? For the Braves.
Gotcha.
You're looking at,
free agent market or trade market? Okay.
Excuse me. You're looking at like Jazz Chisholm.
Randy Arozarena, possibly. Dodgers are interested in him.
Yeah, Dodgers are interested in everybody.
I'm sick and tired of seeing that too, bro. It's like, look at what y'all did in the offseason. I feel like if you spend X amount of money in the offseason, you shouldn't be allowed at the trade deadline.
They're doing like in an auction. They're driving the rates up. You know what I'm saying? By being involved so that they can try to like get you to either, like outbid you to where you don't get them, or you're going to overpay.
The third rotation is absolutely garbage right now. The Dodgers is, just because of injuries. Like they've had more injuries on the starting rotation than I think any other team in baseball. But for getting back to the Braves, you look at a Jazz Chisholm, you look at potentially a Jonathan India for the Reds, which the Yankees apparently are showing interest in. You're going to look at a Randy Arozarena that's out there. Are you looking at Brent Rooker from Oakland, who is an absolute stud, by the way, which I'd love the Reds to go and get.
Yeah. Would you rather have him or J.J. Bleday? Obviously, the bat with Brent Rooker is
I think Rooker has the higher upside.
Yeah.
And I like Bleday, local kid.
Yeah.
But he's hitting 240 right now. But he's doing well. I mean, the A's are on the come up. Their offensive output.
I just think of that A's announcer called, I think it's Rachel Balk or something like that.
It's to left field. No, it's to right field.
I don't know if that's AI or not.
How about that?
I don't know if that's real.
If your last name's in baseball and it's Balk, that's.
I don't know if that's what her actual name is, though.
But the A's are actually scoring a lot of runs here lately. So, but in Bleday and Rooker and Geloff and all those guys have been an absolute, huge part of that.
On their website, it's Jenny Kavner. Okay. Rachel Balk, I believe, is the coach.
Okay.
But Lawrence Butler out there at the A's as well. So they've got a lot of talent.
I like how you did not skip a beat right there throughout all my interruptions. That was awesome.
You're good. You're good. So there's talent out there for, you've got Vladdy Jr. that is potentially going to be on the block.
Yeah.
Bo Bichette potentially is going to be on the block. So there's Lou Bob is out there. Pitching wise, you're looking at, Fetty and Crochet from the White Sox, potentially going to be there. The potential
Tariq Skubal.
I think the Cy Young winner this year, Tariq Skubal, is out there. And, there's rumors that the Orioles are basically going to throw their farm system at him, which, it's going to take that. But if
tractors and all?
Yeah, but if there's one team that can do that and afford to do it, it is Baltimore.
Yeah, right. You mention it all the time. I don't know if there's really anyone who's on our panel of guys on the Afternoon Underdogs that are as keen on what's going on in the farm systems. And I think that a lot of that is hand in hand with how deep you are into the sports car collecting
100%.
world. Yeah.
100%.
But it's also, great to have that kind of knowledge. So, but yes, the Orioles, what was it? Early in the season, like maybe a month into the season, Norfolk Tide had a game where they scored like 27 runs. It was when Kurt Herstad was still a part of the Norfolk Tide before he got the call up.
It was Holiday, Kierstad, Norby. I want to say who else was in there? Mayo, Kobe Mayo was in there.
Yeah.
Just stacked.
Absolutely.
It was like a minor league all-star team.
100%. 100%. So, but it's going to be interesting, this trade deadline. I think what you're going to see on this trade deadline is you're going to see a lot of teams that are buying and selling at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. So like Milwaukee, for instance, they're like, well, why would Milwaukee sell? They're in first place and they're probably going to win the division. because they have the ability to sell
and still win
because of the pieces that they can bring up.
They can sell and still find their way to subtract and have some addition at the same time.
Yeah, and you're going to see that. I think you're going to see that from several teams this year. So,
like the Rays are a team. I don't know if they're playoff bound though.
The Rays never really buy though.
Yeah,
I mean
that's true.
They always sell.
Yeah,
and they always kind of hang tight. You know, I was talking about this with a buddy yesterday. If the Rays were in a different division in baseball, say the AL West,
okay,
they're probably either winning that division or they're second in that division. Or if they're in the AL Central, they're running away with it because of the talent that they've had. But because of where they've been finishing in the division, because of the other teams that are above them, they've been kind of forced to be sellers to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Just because they have nothing else to play for, so might as well just try to rebuild.
Yeah, that's a great take on them. Do you think their new ballpark helps them out at all?
Honestly,
$6.5 billion. You can't even fill out the Trop. It's not like you're moving this stadium to Tampa where maybe that gives you a better opportunity. Now you're going to be causing the fans to have to spend more money on the tickets. And I'm not 100% sure that that's how it's going to work. But if you look at the Raiders, they lead the league in average tickets, the price of the average ticket in the NFL, and that's ridiculous. Why is a team who's a bottom feeder in the league selling their tickets for?
Because of the destination, it's Vegas. They
Right.
get all the tourism, all the yahoos that went on a bandwagon and go there to go watch a game.
Stadium is really cool though too. When you like drive
I don't have
Pretty
no
soon-
allegiance to Allegiant Stadium.
Pretty soon a lot of these games are going to get to the point where it's just corporate, and like if you're not part of the corporate machine, you're not going to be able to really get tickets because it's going to be outpricing.
Like
your
everything's
average
going to be
guy.
like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's getting that way.
I think, they're gonna. Here's what's gonna end up happening. You're gonna have the stadiums, which is gonna be for the corporate people. They'll knock them down to about 25,000 seats or so, right? And for everything, then each stadium, a few blocks down, will have its own sphere, and they will sell tickets for everyone to watch the game outside on the sphere.
Makes sense. I mean,
I don't care what they do. Just stop with blackouts.
Yes,
that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's basically only baseball, right?
It's stupid. It is. The NFL stopped it a couple years ago. They stopped it a couple years ago.
I think that every team sells out, so it's almost
right
hard to black them out.
But I mean, the fact that the Reds play, and I'm shocked.
But there's ways to get around blackouts, ladies and gentlemen. There are ways.
But my thing is like I was shocked that I'm
HSTV.
able to watch the Reds and Braves just because the Braves are, so close to us,
dude.
They're closer to us than the Marlins are, and I can't watch the Marlins game when the Reds play.
I got blacked out for a Braves game on ESPN Plus the other day.
Yeah,
I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And Comcast, apparently today, Comcast and what is it, Diamond? The
Bally
company,
issue.
Bally and all them, but Diamond is the parent company of them. They have reached an agreement. Braves will be back on Comcast soon, they say, but they don't know how long it's going to be. They don't know if their plan is going to work into 2025 and beyond. So essentially until 2028, MLB is letting all of these teams kind of decide if you want to deal with them or if you want to figure out another way to get your games broadcast.
Yeah.
Just absolutely wild. And yes, blackouts are what was the point of those outside of making sure people come to the stadium?
It was just to sell out. Like if the stadium didn't sell out, it wasn't going to be on TV because some people would rather sit at the house because you got a better view on the TV a lot of times than you do in some of those seats.
All the time.
And cheaper. So it's some fans don't care about going to see them live.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a person who enjoys the environment, enjoys, the experience of going to the game.
Make it more affordable, and people will show up, and you'll have sellouts every weekend. If you outprice your normal average fan, guess what? They're not going to come. Shocker.
I had some buddies that are up in Cleveland right now for the National Card Show, right? And they're going to the Cleveland game tonight. And my buddy was like, hey, I'm buying like tickets for, a group of us. If you want in, let me know. It's $120. And they're like, $120 for a Cleveland game? It's like, okay, number one, Cleveland is good, right?
Yeah.
Number two, it's like an all-you-can-eat and drink as far as like sodas and whatnot.
This is $120 for the ticket.
$120 for the ticket. I'm like, the food and drink alone pay for it.
Yeah. If you can eat that much.
$120 really at the end of the day.
But for a
isn't
baseball
that
game?
bad.
But
Like, if I'm going to a baseball
of
game,
it's supply and demand, though. Like when the Phillies were in the World Series, right? It was cheaper for Phillies fans, or like saying like the
To go to Arizona?
NLCS or something, to fly out to San Diego to see him play the Padres than it would be to try to spend money to get tickets in Philly to see him play. Well, anywhere. It's because when you have a rabid fan base like that, you sell out, and even on the secondary market, those tickets are going through the roof. It's not because they're being priced out by the teams itself or the league. It's just it's a hot demand item, and sometimes it demands that, and it's cheaper to fly across the country than it is to watch a game in your own home stadium.
And I'm fine with that. If I'm not seeing any empty seats in your stadium, then that's fine. If you've got empty seats, then you need to lower your tickets. At least the upper decks and stuff. Like, come on, let people get to these games. You might make some fans that you never thought you was going to be able to get. I mean, that's...
Well, plus you help other stuff. Concessions, there's parking, you sell merchandise. There's other ways to make money and revenue besides the ticket.
Right, exactly. And you get people in the door, you're going to get more people spending money, especially if they're like, man, normally I'm spending $25 on a ticket. I spent $3. I'm about to spend that extra $22 elsewhere in the stadium, you know? So, I don't know. And for me, another thing is it's hard for me to spend a lot of money on a baseball ticket. Like, if I'm looking at tickets, I don't know if I've just been spoiled to an extent, and maybe I just buy tickets at the right time or whatever, but I always get pretty good seats for, after fees and everything, $40-45, you know? So it's like, it's hard for me to, like, I can't say unless it's a dang playoff game. Like Freddie Freeman, his return to Atlanta were the most expensive baseball tickets I've ever purchased before. Now, again, I've only been to the Braves and to the Rays Stadium. I've been all three of the Braves stadiums and to the Rays Stadium, so I can't compare what it's like going to Wrigley or going to Fenway or Yankee Stadium, any of that type of stuff. But I can say that going to Freddie Freeman's game, I spent the extra. I think we sat underneath the Hank Aaron Terrace, so it was in the outfield, left field side, probably 20 rows up or so, and those were about $65 a ticket. And that's Freddie Freeman's return, you know what I mean? So unless it's a playoff game, ain't no way I'm spending any more money than that. And if y'all just raise the tickets so high that I can't get it. But here's the other thing is, if you buy tickets day of, which is not conducive to any of us here in Panama City unless we've got a helicopter, but you buy tickets day of and you can get them for a pretty good price. And a hack for Truist is just get general admission and go chill at the Chop House.
Yep.
That's a great way to do that. What else since we're just kind of all over the board here, what else is going in baseball? Well, exactly. I think that's a day by day thing for the Afternoon Underdogs in general. Yesterday was Tangent Tuesday. Right State Chris says it's easier for Detroit Red Wings fans to go to a Columbus Blue Jackets game to watch the games. The Chicago Blackhawks, this is the text I was looking for. The Chicago Blackhawks were basically blacked out for the 90s. From Kyle Albritton, if you put the Reds in the Little League World Series, then they still don't win it, and Caveman would throw rocks at all of the teams.
Right.
Are you excited for the Little League World Series this year?
Yeah. See? Yeah. Nobody's really excited. Yeah.
Give me some interest in it, whether it's a local team from back home or a local team from here. Okay, yeah.
There you go. Rick Ty says, we watch the Braves on MLB and Fubo if it's a blackout game. For those of you dealing with blackouts, just go to ESPNPC.com, go to KHS TV. I believe we still have that up there, and then it will change your life in the way that you view sports. That is absolutely true.
Like Chris was saying, the blackout for the Blackhawks in the 90s. Well, they were good in the early 90s. I mean, they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, so early 90s they were probably on, but yeah, mid to late 90s, that was probably the case.
Johnny Yankee Seed says, I don't want to hear any complaints on prices as a Yankee fan. No one gets charged more than us. Well, y'all want that good old baseball team. Y'all spend all that daggone money on.
$1 billion on a team that doesn't win a championship for like 10 years.
And y'all want to harp on it. Look at all the money we spend. Look at all the championships we used to win way back in the day. I'm messing with Johnny
Yankee
Yankee
Seed. Since Steinbrenner died. Since George has died, you guys haven't done a whole lot.
Hey, Johnny Yankee Seed is going to be on with us Friday for, I believe, full show, and then he's going to be back with me on Monday doing the full show, filling in for Coach Brian Haddad.
Nice. UFC talk, baby.
Yeah, UFC talk on Friday, but we're not going to make the whole show about UFC, though. We'll do a good maybe 45 minutes, an hour of that, depending on how it goes, and then get into some of the other things. Caveman is so mad about those kids being exploited in the Little League World Series. He wants to kick multiple babies. That's from Wright State, Chris.
Line them up, baby. Just line them up.
The Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds. Good thing that we're not airing that game tonight, because I would have to take a little hiatus to kind of do some finagling what's going on with the log right now. But no, Braves and Reds have been postponed until September 9th. So we will not see a game 3 of that series until September 9th. And it's on the way to Citi Field for the Braves and the Mets. Any of the holdouts in the NFL, do any of them bother you?
Or hold in like Jordan Love?
Brandon Ayuk bothers me because I don't feel like that dude is a
But
top.
he showed up to camp, though. He's at camp.
He's not practicing, though.
Oh, so he's just there? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
He's just there so he don't get fined.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, dude. Like,
my gosh.
I don't think you're a top 10 wide receiver. He might be 12th, might be 13th. I don't know. But, like,
and you're sure about that? Oh, yeah. That's 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
He's not practicing during training camp.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that one bothers me because here you are, you're the Niners, right? This isn't the Arizona Cardinals where it's like, okay, well, I mean, they could be good.
Yeah.
But do we really, really know? I mean, this is the San Francisco 49ers, who are arguably the second best team in the league preseason behind Kansas City.
I think that's a fair assessment. Why not?
So you're holding out selfishly and going to basically hurt your career and your team because you're not happy with the money that you're making currently. Get over it. Get your butt on the field. Go win a championship. Make yourself look like the hero that you claim you are, and then go get your bag. Like, that's the thing that bothers me. It's, like T. Higgins, he's not holding out. He's practicing. He's on the franchise tag. Do I think T. Higgins is a $20 to $25 million a year receiver? No. I would say probably 18 to 20 is probably where he needs to be.
Yeah.
But he's not holding out. He's doing what he's supposed to do. I mean, you go back to Le'Veon Bell. Look how that worked out for him.
I'm trying to think. Honestly, I just typed that into Google. Like, name me some holdouts that were successful, that when they came back in that season the next year was like, man, we definitely got our money's worth out of this one.
Emmitt Smith, when he did for the Cowboys. I mean, this is a long time ago.
Emmitt Smith, I'll give you that.
Go back to maybe even
amount of money back then.
I mean, maybe that one time Zeke did for the Cowboys.
But I know, because I don't think so. I think after his holdout, though, it was downhill from there. It was too much cereal and downhill
one
from
good
there.
Season and then that,
maybe so. Maybe so.
But I'm just still saying, just throwing that. I mean, like, and trust me, I don't like to give any props to the Cowboys.
No doubt. I'm proud of you for going that far.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I got to kick some babies, man. Bring me back down.
but no, and that's the one I think that bothers me the most. Do I think he's the best receiver on the team? Probably. I mean, I think Debo is good, but he's more of a gadget guy.
I think the bigger holdout, like I said yesterday, was Hassan Reddick for the Jets right now, man.
Hey, I'll give you that, Caveman, right? Because 2019 is the year that he had the holdout.
When he was in Cabo.
But 2000, all right, so he had 1,300 yards after his holdout year, and then 979. I mean, bounced back in 2021 with 1,002, but then it was pretty much downhill from there. So I'll give you that Zeke's holdout was okay. But that's it. That's all I'm going.
Thanks.
That's all. Hey, way to go, Cowboys, man. You and your running backs.
Who does it benefit? It never benefits the player. It never benefits the team.
That's the only person that it could possibly benefit is the player.
Financially, but
right,
not career-wise.
Right, absolutely.
And that's the thing that I don't think
unless career-wise is
agents truly understand is you are now on this short list of a holdout that you are selfishly doing this above the team. And that's where I think teams look at it and they go, why would I want this guy?
The only thing that I can say that is in favor of the players rather, and I would say more so for the future players, if these players didn't do this, then it would almost be like whatever the NFL, like then it's always in favor of the owner and the teams, right? Like,
But it's not.
No, I get that, but I'm saying if
when you have a don't have guaranteed contract, the only thing you have for leverage is withholding your services.
Exactly.
That's it. That's the only leverage that you have. Withhold your services, because anything else, they have all the control and all the power.
Right.
The leverage is also the fact that the markets keep going up, and so when you see wide receivers out there like Amon-Ra St. Brown signing the huge contract that he's signing, what that does is that puts even more onus on Brandon Ayuk and T. Higgins and Devontae Smith.
But you're worth whatever you can get.
Right, but the thing is when that market continues to go up and the salary cap continues to go up, these players need to understand that where their slot is, right? Now I think that's where we're heading to with
know your role and shut your mouth.
Well, no, but I think we're heading to a place, and I think you and I might have talked about this a couple years ago, where I feel like there's going to be, and maybe there needs to be, a quarterback salary cap and then a team salary cap.
Yeah.
Right? So then that quarterback salary cap.
I don't like that.
Tell me, we don't like NIL.
Well, I hear you, but like your job,
I like NIL.
Your job is
I like
general
NIL,
manager. Your job as general manager is to navigate that stuff, okay, and to manage the money and to contracts and all that. Basically, you're giving general managers an easy out. It's a tough job, okay, so tough so that like a guy like Belichick was wrong to be doing coaching and general managing as long as he did. You know what I'm saying? In fact, some teams I would think would be better suited having two types of general managers. One that scouts and does the talent, and one guy that does the money and like the book stuff as far as like the trades and all that kind of stuff. And if they can work together, I think that's more beneficial too, because it is a really demanding job and it's hard to do.
Teamwork.
Don't make it easier on these teams. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
that's how you have more parity.
And supporting it.
I see what you're saying, that a quarterback salary cap does make it easier on these guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But it also makes it easier for them to be able to sign the players on the team that everybody else wants.
Let's take a quick time out here.
I'm not defending it. I'm not supporting it. I'm saying that's where we're headed.
And I've got something for that whenever we get back. It's actually something that Caveman Rick's brought up a few times. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Why don't y'all get in on the conversation? Text or call us, 850-215-6290.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdogs.
It's the best, easiest martial arts for the average person on the street to learn, protect themselves.
Jiu-jitsu, to me, I would think is the most important. Self-defense martial arts. It teaches you self-discipline. You can choose to hurt somebody, you can choose not to hurt somebody. Depends on their level of stupidity and what they want to do.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. A chance of thunderstorms and light rain the remainder of the day with a wind out of the south-southwest around 11 miles per hour and 87. Tonight, look for likely thunderstorms and moderate rain with a temperature near 80. Tomorrow, a high around 88 and a possibility of thunderstorms and moderate rain. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Santa called and he asked me to help everyone get ready for Christmas and avoid the stress and rush. So we've stocked the store and slashed the prices. All diamond jewelry 30 to 50% off this month. All diamond rings, pendants, earrings, bracelets, and necklaces. And we are offering free 6 months layaway. Tracy's Fine Jewelry takes the stress out of the holidays. So shop now where Santa shops during our Christmas and July sale at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
It's dangerous.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Yes, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 right here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with Adam Goff and Caveman Rick. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. Panhandle Hurricanes have their tryouts July 28th at the Lynn Haven Rec Center. That's going to be 7U through 10U from 1 to 3 p.m. and 11U through 13U from 3 to 5 p.m. Y'all get out there. Tryouts are free. Tryout for the Panhandle Hurricanes July 18th, which is this coming Saturday.
And if your kid's first name is Michael, make him be the quarterback.
This is for baseball.
Just baseball.
If your kid's first name is Babe, make sure he gets out there. Why Michael?
Hurricane Michael.
Oh, Hurricane Michael. Oh my gosh, I wasn't ready. Hey, but 5 years are passed, right?
I'm trying to forget that. It's like 6.
6 years.
6 years.
No, it'll be 6 years in October.
Mm-hmm. 6 years in October.
10th, right?
October 10th.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wednesday. 10.
My goodness, man. I still remember.
Life changing.
Yeah. Man.
We were here 3 months.
3 months. I can't even imagine.
3 whole months, yeah.
Essentially, I mean, I've been here for 17 years, but essentially back and forth here my whole entire life.
Which was weird for us because, like, there were no street signs.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like,
the GPS wasn't
spotty, right? So you couldn't really GPS. So
you're just following Salvation Army vans around, like, maybe you might lead me to the right direction.
For houses, right?
Oh,
so
wow.
We were trying to buy a
so
house.
y'all hadn't bought, y'all were just renting at this point.
We had one that we were renting over by the college, which was okay. It was undamaged. I mean, it had some trees down and fencing down, but otherwise structurally it was sound. And then we were under contract for another house over off of Stanford, which took on quite a bit of damage. And it wasn't like, world-ending damage to the house, but it was enough that it was going to delay the sale quite a bit because we were supposed to close on that Friday, the 12th. On that house over off of Stanford. Of course, Stanford is the one where that building is no longer there on the corner of 23rd and Stanford.
Yeah.
And then went all
I
the way
remember
back
some
through.
of my buddies were in that gas station right there, that beeline right there, and like they, take like party videos and whatnot. And then all of a sudden it's like water coming in.
I knew somebody lives in those apartments across kind of the street and behind that building you're talking about that was flooded out pretty bad. Yeah.
I think what's that, Stanford Point or the View or something like that?
There's two of them back to back.
So we ended up backing out of that deal or whatever. But again, we were still trying to find a house to buy. So it was like, the real estate agent would call and say, hey, I have this house I want to show you, blah, 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 blah. Say, okay, let's see if we can find it this time.
Oh, man, yes,
no
sir.
offense, but other people like myself had way bigger problems in trying to find a house that we were trying to buy. There were
obviously, I'm not trying to.
Not making light of anything, but bringing humor into a non-humorous situation. There was a lot of things, man. I remember one of the first days outside afterwards or whatever, because you couldn't get to our street after the hurricane. Like, we'd have to park over there where the old Kmart was and then walk down, like, initially, and then they eventually got that chopped up. But getting out there and getting some of the stuff cut up with chainsaws and whatnot, and you would just see people driving through the neighborhoods as like tourists and just like take it. I wanted to take those carrots. I'm like, well, now I know what it feels like to be like those people in Houston and stuff when the flooding's going on and everyone's just driving around taking pictures.
The morning after Hurricane Michael, I was walking around by my neighborhood, just over like the other side of this little bridge right there, and I saw a guy and his chick in a Toyota Tacoma driving around, and that's what they were doing, like touristy videotaping.
Yeah,
probably came from the beach or something that didn't withstand like any kind of damage. And I was literally yelling and cussing at them and saying, like, look, if
I
you're
can
not,
only imagine
if you're
what
not
you were
here
doing
to help,
I'm glad they didn't have a baby with them.
Oh, they're lucky that I didn't have something else with me, because I'm like, look, if you're not here to help and you're just here like driving around, just like getting in the way, get that H out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No business over here, man.
Man,
I can't stand that.
Our community definitely did come together, man, and help each other out. And shout out to all of the people who would come, the Salvation Army trucks driving around giving out meals, and the people handing out ice and all kinds of things, man. Just it was, you go to a situation where you don't have the technologies that you've relied on for the last 10 years or so, and become closer with your fellow human beings, man. And I think that was I remember some of the neighbors that I grew up with, right, and their son I don't think he was in town at the point at that point in time, and their cell phone service was out. And and I had AT&T, so not AT&T, but I had Straight Talk with the AT&T tower, so it worked out just fine for me. But none of the other people that I was with, their cell phones weren't working. So to be able to have that little minute thing of just being able to connect mother and father with their son was huge for them, and it was huge for me. And then the tears start flowing, and then you got to roll your sleeves up and get to work after that. But yeah, let's see. We got a lot going on. Hey, if anyone is driving down 15th Street right now and you're near the Waffle House, go in. We've got a guy from our auction league who's actually doing the Waffle House challenge right now. The 24 hours in Waffle House. For every waffle that he eats, he gets an hour knocked off of that. Last I saw anyways, he's about 3 hours in and 3 waffles down. So he's still got probably at this point
18 hours at that point.
Yeah, so at this point, that was, maybe 2 hours ago. So he's got at least 16 hours, depending on how many
15.
waffles that he's eating. So go in there and say, hey, Felipe, you stink at fantasy football, or something along that line, those lines. He's right there.
Buy him a waffle.
Buy him a waffle. That's a great way to do it.
Waffle.
Or make him buy his own waffle, but tell him, eat up. Go take a picture of him and put it on ESPN Northwest Florida.
He was already not doing so hot after the 3rd waffle. If you really want to be mean, just go out there and say, hey, man, I bought you like 5 waffles. Here you go.
There you go. So, yeah, it's Felipe. He's over there at Waffle House on 15th Street, the one right over there right after
Mazda.
Yeah, right after Balboa. I believe that's before Florida Avenue. It might be right directly across. Before
right
Jinx
there
Avenue
by
for
Bay,
sure.
Right there by the subway, by Bay Cars. And all
exactly, right there. So free plugs for a few different restaurants this afternoon. Also, fantasy draft here. We're going to be holding that at PCB Hobby. That's going to be August 25th at 6:30 p.m. That is a Sunday. If you are a part of the league, go ahead and put that in your calendar. However, life happens, and sometimes people can't make it. So with that being said, we do have a waiting list. If you'd like to be a part of the ESPN Northwest Florida Fantasy Football League, we'll put you on the waiting list. You just text your name and your email to 850-215-6290. The draft is going to be August 25th at 6:30 p.m. at PCB Hobby. It's BYOB. That's bring your own beverages. Whatever it is, just be responsible with whatever it is that you bring. We're going to provide some food, at least some pizza. We've got the draft boards, all of that good stuff. Ryan Mulvey's been helping me out a lot with that, and very thankful to PCB Hobby for hosting us. Coach Brian Haddad is going to be there, so if anyone does want to purchase some of their fantasy football players or any of that good kind of stuff, hey man, it's going to be a fun evening.
3 of us will be there.
Yeah, we're going to be there. Ryan Mulvey, Jay Henley will be there. It will be a great time. I can promise you that it's going to be a great time, and I'm not going to be running around as much, which I'm kind of sad about. I might ask people, let me celebrity pick for you.
Jay should be the featured host, man. I think everybody should want to meet Jay.
Yeah,
Jay's
there we
awesome.
go. There you go. We'll just have us. We'll have all of us who are part of the shows in any way, shape, form, or fashion, standing out some way. We'll have like a star over our head, or maybe we'll all have to wear halos that day. How's that sound, Caveman Rick?
It works.
It works. All right. I thought I was going to get some kickback.
I'll just like duct tape a baby doll to my shoe.
Everyone would know
the baby kicker right
automatically. I think when people see if you were to have a lineup of all of the hosts that'll be there, right? And people you know what I'm saying? You embody the nickname Caveman Rick.
Not saying no name. Well, people can see us on, obviously on the screen, but that would be kind of interesting.
But one of the biggest kickers is for the people who just listen on the radio. We couldn't open up our mouths we could, because I can't tell you how many times if I'm walking through the grocery store, I don't get recognized. But you have a conversation with me, I knew I recognized that voice from somewhere.
Or have us and just play a clip and then match the voice to the person you think it fits.
I think that would be a fun little game right there, Caveman Rick. I really do think. Man, this segment's already over. All right, well, trivia and 4 big questions when we get back. Then we got a minute, Caveman Rick. Right. So what were we talking about before we left off? We were talking about quarterback salary cap. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll get back to this after 4 big questions, Caveman Rick. But one of the things you've said is as we get closer to this 18-game season, the reality is the teams are gonna need more quarterbacks, and you're probably gonna have to have 2, maybe not proven, but you're gonna have to have an elite, then a serviceable quarterback at bare minimum. And so with that that being said, I know that the quarterback salary cap, as you said, kind of makes it easier on teams, but maybe they do have to go in that direction of having a separate salary cap just for the quarterbacks.
I think you just divide it. I mean, you just do how you're doing now. You just have to reallocate that money in other areas, and some people aren't going to get paid as much. Some other people might get paid a little bit more. I mean, you have to see what works for you. Every team's different. I don't think it needs to be made easier for anybody.
Well, I'll tell you what works for us. A little bit of advertising. And we're going to let you hear our advertisers right now. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back after these messages.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the inside drive.
All right, we got to go a little bit. Who's after Alabama?
Auburn and Athens.
I'm going to go with what Liam picked for Auburn's schedule. I'm going to go with Auburn sneaking out a win in Athens. They're coming off a loss against Alabama. They let their guard down. They overlook Auburn. Boom!
Back-to-back losses.
Back-to-back losses. Hey, it's a new year.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. A chance of thunderstorms and light rain the remainder of the day with a wind out of the south-southwest around 11 miles per hour and 87. Tonight, look for likely thunderstorms and moderate rain with a temperature near 80. Tomorrow, a high around 88 and a possibility of thunderstorms and moderate rain. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
You owe the IRS back taxes, and dealing with the IRS stresses you out. Fortunately, IRS Problem Relief can help you resolve back taxes and represent you to the IRS so you don't have to face them alone. Last year, IRS Problem Relief saved clients drowning in tax debt, and IRS Problem Relief is a local company right here in Panama City, not some 800 number where you can never talk to the same person twice. Put those problems behind you so you can focus on moving forward. Call Edward Corey with IRS Problem Relief, 850-784-8176. For a free consultation, call Edward Corey with IRS Problem Relief. It's 850-784-8176 or visit irsproblemrelief.com.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida. From the pros to the future pros. We're your home team station for home team sports. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Wow. ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back here. You're in the doghouse riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Adam Goff and Caveman Rick. We do have a Waffle House update from Felipe. It's 5 waffles in, 6.5 hours in, and none of our shout outs have worked. Some of our friends have stopped by, but no one from listening to the radio has stopped by. Do me a favor. If you love listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, just one of you, if you're driving down 15th Street, stop by the old Yellow Top, stop by Waffle House, and just poke some fun there at my man Felipe Madrid for finishing last in our fantasy football league. Man, tough go, but a lot of people have backed out of that challenge. So I do got to say one thing. Kudos to Felipe for actually doing the challenge. We'll see if he finishes it, but at least attempting it.
We have an idea for our 850 league where whoever the loser is basically going to have to wait on the other contestants, the other members. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, Fano had that's like, the question that we asked our listeners earlier, should Snit be let go if the Braves miss the playoffs? Last year was a tough year for you, but it wasn't because you're a bad fantasy manager. It's because everyone on your team got injured. So should you be let go from your fantasy squad?
From that squad, yes.
yes, fire me. Fire me. My goodness. 850-215-6290 is the number to call or text. Again, we do have some spots left. Not spots left. We have a waiting list going for our fantasy football draft, which will be August 25th, 6:30 p.m. at PCB Hobby. If you'd like to join the waiting list, text your name and your email to 850-215-6290. No Atlanta Braves tonight. The second game of the doubleheader has been rained out. They will remake that game September 9th. We're streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch, all at ESPN Northwest Florida. We also have the app that you can get. Go to your Google Play Store or your Apple Store and type in 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. All right, let's dive into these four big questions. The Pittsburgh Steelers, can Russell Wilson or Justin Fields be at least league average? What do you think? Can Arthur Smith get the most out of Russell Wilson or Justin Fields?
Well, I mean, I think Justin Fields is their kick returner.
According to Madden.
So, I don't know that it's going to be Fields. I feel like should Russell Wilson go down or it just be an absolute just train wreck, then obviously I think Justin Fields gets the opportunity. Now, what he does with it, we'll see. But I felt like Chicago should have probably held on to Justin Fields maybe. But, I mean, I get it. You know, you're trying to go all in on Caleb Williams, have at it. But Russell Wilson, I don't think was the biggest problem in Denver last year. I think he was a couple years ago, but not last year. Going to a place like Pittsburgh, which has seemingly been running the ball first. The offensive line is getting better. The defense is arguably one of the best in the league. I don't know if you've seen TJ Watt here lately, but
when he's healthy, you don't got to see him lately or in the beginning.
No, I mean, he's bigger now.
Golly.
I mean, I think there's going to be some random drug tests coming his way soon. But
he got some of that muscle from his brother that he's retired now, huh?
The problem that Russell Wilson is going to have is the fact that he's playing in arguably should be one of the best divisions in football.
Which is the third year running, I would say, that we've got a different division up for that, right? 2 years ago, it was the AFC West, right? You had Russell Wilson going over to the Denver Broncos.
That turned out to be not true at all.
Exactly. So it didn't work out. Last year, it was the AFC East. Mm-hmm. So could injuries to an extent, because I wouldn't say injuries derailed the AFC West. I think there was a lot of hype around Russell Wilson.
And Herbert.
Derek Carr. Yeah, but the Chargers. All right. Anyway, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole because then we'll never get back from it. But so last year was the AFC East. Injuries derailed that with Aaron Rodgers. The Patriots just were an absolute shell of themselves from what we've seen in the past ever since Tom Brady left. Let's be honest. The Patriots have been a shell of themselves. So it was really a two-horse race over there between the Dolphins and the Bills. And this year it's the AFC North that it seems like, I mean, because they were the division to beat last year. I just think that this one is, I felt like this the last 2 years. I feel like this year, though, the AFC North is the division to beat.
I think so, too.
Yeah, I mean, an injury to Lamar Jackson, there's no way if Joe Burrow gets injured,
that's just part of his MO every year.
Unfortunately, I mean, right now he's healthy, knock on wood. He's looked good in practice. I mean, he's got the Slim Shady thing going now, so good for him.
Slim Shady dies, right?
Huh?
Slim Shady dies, right? So that's not good.
Yeah, he dyes his hair.
The death of Slim Shady.
But a new album name and being canceled. It's working. He's getting canceled.
But the thing is like with Burrow, it's not been like, I mean, granted it was the ACL, but it was like he got rolled up on. Then it was a appendicitis issue.
Can't help that, right?
I mean, it's just part of life. And then of course he had the
Is it part of life?
Like the wrist or something?
Have you ever had your appendicitis? Right, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
It's not like he's got some rare, thing going on in his head.
Yeah,
and
which is also part of life.
Right, but And then, of course, he has the arm injury on a freak play. So, and that's another thing about Lamar is everybody's like, well, he's lost 20 pounds. I can't believe he's going to be, he's done that and with his injury history. But majority of Lamar stuff has been non-contact issues.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been season-ending issues.
It's hard to...
Other than, 2 years ago, where he could have come back, but he didn't come back. So there was like contract disputes and things like that. So I think Burrow will be fine. The offensive line is arguably better than it was last year. So.
If he's not fine, let's say that he...
Troubling. It's huge trouble.
Yeah, of course.
Especially with the contract.
But do you have to get back into those quarterback waters? Do you wade back into those waters and draft a quarterback? Obviously, you'd have to make a move in the middle of the season.
I think you have to.
Right. So, man, that would be tough for the Bengals who have been sniffing success again.
Mm-hmm. And like we were saying, how you might need two quarterbacks, like with going into 18 games, it's pretty important. But back to the Steelers thing, too. They're going to be the last in that division, I think, man. I don't see it with Arthur Smith. We haven't seen a lot of success.
But can they be at least league average, though? That's the question.
Well, I mean, I hear you. Yeah, you can be at least league average. The quarterback is, but I'm just still saying as far as the whole team as a whole, Mike Tomlin's had the fortunate, I don't want to say luck because a lot of it has to do with skill, but, not having a losing season yet where he almost did last past season. This is, a long enough timeline, I
just want to say last year it was people were writing it down in the history books. Oh, first time Mike Tomlin's going to have a season where he finishes under 500. And then what happens? And we're talking about with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, with Mason Rudolph, with who else was it? Now he's with Kenny Pickett and Trubisky. Like, those are the quarterbacks that he had to try to get to 500, man. And they got there. And they got, you can't finish on 500 these days, so you're either one game over or one game under, or, whatever. But they finished over 500, so very impressive. The defense likely going to be even better than what it was last year, so that'll be their saving grace. And they are going to have is this going to be a resurgent year for Russell Wilson? Let's change the question up a little bit.
I think it could be. I still doubt his weapons on the outside. I think that's going to be their biggest issue. I don't think they're going to have a problem running the ball, and I don't think they're going to have a problem protecting. I think what they're going to have a problem with is, are they going to be able to get separation, particularly when you're playing the defenses that they're going to be playing this year.
All right. So I was going to look up 2022 stats.
I mean, it's fair what AG's saying. I mean, it's kind of similar to what he had in Seattle, good defense, running game, and stuff like that. So we'll see if it was really the system that Russell Wilson played in Seattle versus him, cooking and him, making the plays like off schedule and stuff like that.
Well, and another thing, though, is last year, towards the end of the year, Russell Wilson did start to, and I hate using the term let Russ cook, because for me, it's never really been about Russ cooking as much. Now, he's done some amazing things in the pocket. And primarily outside of the pocket, right? Getting out of trouble doesn't remind me, but Kyler Murray reminds me a lot of some of the Russell Wilson-esque escape artist type situations, right? Last year, though, it was really like a contract dispute, essentially. Like the Broncos just didn't want to pay the man the money because 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and in only 15 games played. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be resurgent, but I know that Russell Wilson is above average when it comes to that. When it comes to league average, he is above what league average is. However, league average isn't really what you want out of your quarterback if you plan on being a winning franchise.
The biggest issue with Russell Wilson is going to be, because of his prior reputation at Seattle as well as in Denver, can he weld that locker room together? Right? Can he be that guy?
Right, because he stuck out like a sore thumb in Denver because all of the success that he had in Seattle, and then he comes over there to Denver, like you said, he had his own office. He had 10 bathrooms so he could poop all day. At
he
his
had
house.
his own, like, what was it, as a medical guy, or his own something else too that the team wasn't too keen on as well. I can't remember what else, but other than the office, he had like another personnel type person.
Yeah, and I think that when you're a quarterback, you got to be a man of the people. You know what I mean? Because you're the leader of that squad, and guys are going to look to you. And if let's say that things aren't necessarily going their way with coach or whatever, they might come to you to settle the score for
He
them.
kind of had that Barry Bonds kind of attitude, sitting in the lazy boy, like in front of his locker, like when he was with the Giants and stuff like that.
So, and I don't think that flies, one, in Pittsburgh in general.
And two, with Mike Tomlin.
And two, well, maybe I should have those in reverse order. One, under Mike Tomlin's roof, right? And I think that's going to be the saving grace, because with Sean Payton, different type of head coach. I think a lot of his success look, Sean Payton was a successful coach, had great success in New Orleans. If you take Drew Brees out of that mix, though, I don't know if you get the same amount of success. And primarily Super Bowl success.
I think it was a good marriage. Those two.
It was a great marriage.
It was those two together.
Right. And I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm just saying, however, I think that there's a much better coach over here in Pittsburgh in Mike Tomlin than what Denver has in Sean Payton. And so, and I think that he will require, like with Russell Wilson going over to Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos, it was like, all right, here's your pedestal. This is where we have you. And once you put someone on a pedestal, you can't take them down. If you take them down, you essentially have to remove them.
Well, you don't take them down; they take themselves down.
Right, but essentially, that's what I'm saying. Is like once someone knows they can get away with this, or this is like it's their way or the highway, yeah, they either remove themselves or you have to get rid of them out of your locker room. And I think that it's a different situation. It has to be a different situation in Pittsburgh, or else it's going to be a very long season for the Steelers fans. And it still could be, even if Russell Wilson's playing good football with how good the defenses are in the AFC North, it could be a long season.
Mm-hmm.
Let's ask a question about the Baltimore Ravens. This tandem, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, do you think that they will be as dangerous as what people are expecting them to be, as dangerous as what the hype is hyping them up to be?
I think it's scary as all get out if you're going up against them.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the biggest issues last year, in the last couple of years, is that red zone efficiency, right? You see Justin Tucker out there kicking a lot of field goals. Lamar's getting them down there and they're scoring points. They're not scoring a lot of points, but he's got, probably arguably the best kicker in football ever, right behind him. So, but yeah, having Derrick Henry there with Lamar Jackson, we've already seen Derrick Henry with the pop pass. Right, we've seen him be able to do all these different things. Imagine the creativity, what they can do with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry at the goal line situation. Not to mention they're going to have a healthy Mark Andrews.
Second year for Zay Flowers.
So the play
that'll be huge.
So the play action is going to be huge as well. So, I think what you're going to see with Derrick Henry is you're going to see to use your word, a resurgence. Derrick Henry, and I think you're going to see a Lamar Jackson that's more of a pocket passer, which is what he wants to be, and that's what this new offense that they put in last year was kind of moving him toward, and I think that's the reason for the weight loss, right? It's so when he does have to get out and go, he's a lot faster, and he's able to get away. So Derrick Henry is a scary, scary thought in that backfield.
It's wild that 12 touchdowns and 1,100 yards, and you could have a resurgent year after that.
I don't think
Look at what he had done prior, though.
I know, 1,500 yards. I'm right there with you, brother. It's just wild the hype that he's created, honestly.
I don't think they're changing much. I think they're just going to keep running stuff status quo the way they've been doing things. They don't need to change. Look at all the injuries they sustained at running back, and they were still able to keep going the way they were going, running the ball and everything still. Now you have a guy that's, year in and year out, he's healthy. He can get yards. He can handle the workload. I think they're just going to keep pounding the ball and just doing everything the same way. They're just going to have the benefit now of hopefully staying healthy. Lamar, like Adam's saying, probably won't have to off schedule. We'll try to run as much or do that kind of thing. So that might save his legs a little bit, keep him healthier and more fresh down the road and for the playoffs. And I think that's what's going to help him out. But I really don't think they're going to change anything about their philosophy. If anything that we've seen, with the way that team's been run from ownership to general managing to coaching and everything, they got a plan and they stick to it no matter what. No matter if they do have injuries or what have you. the ship's still sailing in the same direction.
I think that the philosophy has changed slightly, and maybe not as much as like we're not going to run the ball as much anymore, as much as Lamar Jackson's not going to be the one who's toting it all the time. So I do agree with you that it's primarily going to be run first. But then on the other side of it is if Lamar Jackson and Monken are on the same page, then I do, and they have a strong belief and confidence in Zay Flowers, then I think that they could air it out a little bit more. But I'm also on the same side of you, Caveman Rick, where it's like, how far away from that philosophy that's worked for you for so long do you want to get away from? Like, and that defense, I think, is going to be just as nasty. They've lost a few pieces.
Stone and Patrick Queen, which are two big pieces, but and they lost them to division rivals, by the way. I think those are going to be two big pieces, but I mean, they've still got Hamilton. They've still got that whole crew there. So
yeah, and Marlon Humphrey, and he's lost a little bit of weight as well. They bring in Eddie Jackson to play behind Marcus Williams. So, especially on the secondary, which is not saying that it's not the bread and butter. I feel like for the Ravens more so is right there at that edge rusher position, linebacker. But I mean, then you got a Hall of Famer Ed Reed safety type deals that you've had for the Ravens as well. So I don't think that they're going to be missing. I don't think that the Ravens are going to be skipping a beat. And I'm really excited for game one of the NFL season to be able to see this Ravens squad go up against a different look Kansas City Chiefs squad. It's pretty much the same, but there's new speed added to it.
I got them winning the AFC.
Yeah.
The Ravens, I got them futures bet on it. So
we're a ways away from it, but I think that there's some value to be found in that bet. Also, yeah, go ahead.
Jimmy on YouTube says no, he doesn't believe that Russell Wilson or Fields will be at least league average. He said Wilson is trash and Fields doesn't fit Pittsburgh's offense.
Yeah, Fields doesn't fit the offense. I agree with that, and I'm not going to sit here and say Russell Wilson is trash because by the numbers, like, he's not trash. I think that he's been overhyped, especially the last 3 to 4 years. So let's say the last 3 years of his tenure at Seattle, I think he was way overhyped. Got me to the point of where I was thinking like that, where, man, this guy's trash. And then you see him at Denver and you have all of these expectations, but they didn't have nothing around him.
No.
I mean, when they did, it wasn't too long before they were injured. It's almost like the LA Chargers. Maybe there's just a curse on everything outside of the Kansas City Chiefs and the AFC West, man. Oh my goodness.
Hope not.
How about Michael Gallup retiring right ahead of camp?
Another one that just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah,
and he had a lot of head injuries too. So.
Yeah, did great, fantasy-wise for the Cowboys for a little while, and then he was with the Cowboys last year, then signed that deal with the Raiders, and boom, hasta luego, no Michael Gallup. He is on the retirement list. But yes, I think that this tandem of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry is more troublesome, more dangerous than what people are expecting it to be.
I put it right up there with Jalen Hurts and Saquon as far as like quarterback running back tandem.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those are absolutely scary.
Which is scarier?
I think Henry because of what he can do at that goal line. Barkley with an offensive line is a scary
as long as he
thing.
can stay healthy.
But Lamar over Jalen in my book, I think that's the difference maker there.
Okay, all right. And there's still some time for Jalen to catch up there. The one thing I would give the edge to in this particular conversation with Jalen Hurts and with Saquon Barkley is the receiving threat that Saquon Barkley is. Mm-hmm. But I will say that over the last 3 or 4 years, Derrick Henry has really worked on his receiving game. He only had 214 yards last year, but the year prior to that, 398, averaging 12.1. So, hey, there is that. Maybe he can become more of a receiving threat this year. But for me, more dangerous out of those two, I just think that if you stack the box against the Ravens, you're going to get found out. If you know what I'm saying? Because Lamar Jackson will hit that perimeter on you and you will not see him again until he's turned around and walking back to the sideline.
Lamar Jackson is going to be running RPOs with Derrick Henry.
Yeah. And again,
devastating.
Derrick Henry has 3 seasons where he didn't hit 1,000 yards. The one in 2021, 2021, he got the Liz Frank injury. He only played 8 games. He had 937 yards. He was leading the league in rushing that year. His other 2 were his first 2 seasons in the league when he was running behind DeMarco Murray. He had 490 yards on 110 carries and then 744
First game
yards.
back was that playoff loss, right? To Bengals?
Yeah, to your Bengals. Never watching a football game together, AG. My goodness, that day was tumultuous for me. Just sitting there. Oh, yeah, we sacked him again. How in the world did this man just bring them back, man? He's better than a cat. Got more than 9 lives. My goodness gracious. Hopefully we get that version of Joe Burrow back this year. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Quick timeout, and we're going to keep it rolling with our 4 big questions on the AFC North.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many. I don't think they're going to fall apart completely.
No.
I mean, they're still Michigan. They're still going to be competitive, but Big Ten championship, I don't see it. I'm still not sold on Oregon either. Obviously, we'll find out pretty soon. You know, I think they've been anointed
right
a little early. That's just me. We'll see.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, a possibility of thunderstorms and sprinkles and a low of 80 with wind 3 to 7 miles per hour out of the southwest. Likely thunderstorms and light showers tomorrow morning and hot near 87. Likely thunderstorms and sprinkles in 88 in the afternoon and evening. 89 and some sun in the early morning and then a chance of thunderstorms Friday. This is your Wednesday's weather brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take control of your adventure and discover the new Kia at Bill Burr Kia. Our SUV family is built for all-in adventures and endless possibilities. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 1.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sorento or a new 2024 Kia Sportage. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Burr Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. The road is yours in an all-new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sorento or 2024 Kia Sportage with $2,165 per 1,000 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/3/24.
The mission?
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie-cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Adam Goff. Caveman Rick, we're the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. This season, ESPN Northwest Florida is bringing you every Auburn Tiger football game. You won't miss a single touchdown, sack, nor interception. You can join us for the kickoff on the Plains August 31st. First, they'll be taking on the Bulldogs of Alabama on your number one, Alabama A&M, on your number one destination for college football and the Auburn Tigers, ESPN Northwest Florida. We've been picking on the Inside Drive each of the SEC teams and what their records are going to be. And we did Auburn the other day, and we had little Liam in studio with us, and he was so confused with that first game because it was like Alabama A&M versus Auburn. He's thinking Alabama week 1 straight out of the gate. My goodness. So that was a lot of fun having him in the studio. Shout out to Team Dynasty getting a tough win over the Hurricanes last night. That score was 13-12. Great offense, great defense, just a great game all around yesterday evening. Proud of those guys for sticking through it, man. That was a very talented team on the other side of the field. No doubt about that. All right, we left off talking about our 4 big questions. By the way, you guys can call in or text us 850-215-6290. We did get a good question in from Kyle Albritton, so maybe we'll find a way to work that in. But the Cleveland Browns, is Deshaun Watson, let's say will Deshaun Watson return to form, or could you see it being Jameis Winston or one of the other quarterbacks on their roster as it was last year?
I mean, that's obviously the biggest question, right? I mean, you saw the Cleveland Browns and what they're able to do with Joe Flacco coming off of his couch.
Right.
If you can get Deshaun Watson to be even close to what he was in Houston, with that defense and, the weapons that are going to be around him, we don't know if Amari Cooper is going to be holding out.
I think they already got a deal. I think they got a deal done with Amari Cooper. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a fully guaranteed. I think he's getting paid like $20 million this year.
Wow. So, I mean, the weapons that they have around him, I think Nick Chubb starts out on the PUP list, but their running game was still solid last year.
$5 million raise, $20 million guaranteed.
There you go. So, Deshaun Watson is the biggest question mark, not just on the Cleveland Browns, but I think in the entire league, right? Coming off of, a weird situation where he was healthy, he wasn't scratched, he wasn't on the injured list, but he wasn't on the team, or he wasn't on the sidelines for games. Like, really kind of weird situations going on. Obviously, everybody knows about the ginormous guaranteed contract, but if he doesn't do it this year, I don't think he ever does it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We had that conversation I think with Tua last year, and Tua showed out that he was more than capable.
Right.
So I think with Deshaun Watson, this is his opportunity to say, I don't think anybody's worth that contract, but if anybody, if he has a chance to do it, it's going to be this year.
Yeah. But what about you? Do you think he gets back to form this year?
I don't see it. I think the guy was just out of the league too long. When you're out for a couple of years, it's hard to come back into a game like the NFL. I mean, we were surprised as hell to see Michael Vick come back the way he did, but this was Michael Vick. This wasn't Deshaun Watson.
And he was training his whole time gone.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to go back to committee at quarterback again, unfortunately, this season.
So you got Jameis Winston. You got a guy who did a great job as a backup, and he's four-stringer.
Is he?
But he impressed a lot of people in preseason last year. DTR did, the kid out of UCLA.
He got hurt.
Right, exactly. And then Tyler Huntley is going to be over there, Baltimore Ravens backup that year. Because talk about Lamar Jackson and a guy betting on himself. The 2 years prior to that, only played in 12 games, both of those seasons. And Tyler Huntley in that second year, honestly, almost beat the Bengals in that playoff game.
Mm-hmm. Sam Hubbard's 99-yard fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely. So if Jameis can't get it done, which I root for a guy like Jameis Winston, man. Not only is he extremely funny,
He seems to be a consummate teammate. Like
what he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
What he did last year, what was it? Jamal Williams getting him that touchdown when, the coach told them to kneel or whatever, which I'm so glad that he got a job after that, because there was people saying he might not get a job because he's showing that, he's not going to listen to
always
orders.
The Browns.
There's always the Browns, and the Browns are just throwing money around as well. But if Deshaun Watson isn't, if he doesn't return to form, which I've said it from the beginning, and I don't know if it was as popular then because a lot of people were just so excited Deshaun Watson was going to the Browns. I wasn't a huge fan of the deal that they were giving him. I just didn't think that, like what Rick said, man, you take a couple of years off of this game, and this game passes you by, and it's hard to catch up when these guys are still riding the bike that you took a little while off from riding, and just a tough situation. So I would love to see Jameis. The defense is so strong here. You've got Nick Chubb going to be coming back from his terrible injury last year. Jerome Ford also got injured. The fact that the Browns were doing what they were doing last year with the injuries that they also were dealing with at the same time, it was just absolutely amazing, which is another piece of why this division is going to be so daggum tough to come out from. And you could be looking at a three-division playoff or a division with three playoff teams coming out of it as well. So I'm going to say no. Deshaun Watson doesn't, so I think that sweeps it across the board for us. And then for the Cincinnati Bengals, can the secondary grow up? What do you think here, AG?
I think so. I mean, Lou Anarumo he's built his defenses from the back up, right? Which means that his defense starts
with the secondary, yeah.
And then finishes at, at the front seven. So they bring Von Bell back into the fold after being away for a couple years. He's going to be backing up Jordan Battle, Alabama boy.
Oh, nice.
So as of right now, you're looking at Cam Taylor-Britt, who had a couple injuries, nagging injuries last year, but he's back fully healthy. I think he had a little bit of a medical issue this week, but he should be fine. Dax Hill has another year under his belt where he's going to be improving. And he's not going to be, obviously health notwithstanding, he's not going to be, going up against the number one and number two guy, right? He's going to be more of a dime kind of guy.
Noah Wuze, because he's over there with the Tennessee Titans.
Right. But the biggest pickup that nobody's talking about is Geno Stone that we got from the Ravens, who had 8 interceptions for the Baltimore Ravens last year. So it's going to be him in battle in playing safety this year. And then you got DJ Turner, who started to really, really kind of come into his own at the end of the last season, similar to the way Cam Taylor-Britt did 2 years ago,
right?
Particularly in the playoffs. So I think they're going to grow up. I think you're going to see them really kind of figure it out, what it is that they're doing. And I think what that does is in Lou Anarumo's system, it makes that whole defense just be absolutely cohesive. Because the Super Bowl run, right? I mean, you had Von Bell back there, doing his thing, and then
Eli Apple.
Well, no, not Eli Apple.
Awuzie?
No, the guy that's in Atlanta now that tore it up last year. The guy that we didn't sign. I'm trying to think of his name off the top of my head. I'm drawing a blank. I don't know how I'm drawing a blank.
Don't worry about it. I got you.
But they were really, really good safeties. And then you had Awuzie, who was healthy. You had Eli Apple, who would come in and spell them as well. Why am I?
Jesse Bates.
Jesse Bates. Thank you. Jesse Bates the third.
Yeah.
But I think
they got DeMarco Helms over there too.
I think that's
now.
what you're going to see. Is you're going to see a resurgent defense, to use your word again.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, really kind of takes some of the pressure off of that front seven. Or actually, it's front six for Cincinnati, if you will. And then you still have Mike Hilton, which Mike Hilton just seems to always be there to make a big play.
There you go, man. What about you? You think that this Bengals defense, do you think that the secondary last year, very young across the board, but growing up, do you think they grow up before our eyes this year?
It's tough for me to say. I'm going to say I don't know is my honest answer. I think the best thing that, the team can do to help them out, man, is just Joe Burrow staying on the field with that offense, man, and just giving that defense some time, giving them some time to gel, get some cohesiveness, and feel each other out. And then if they can do that, it might be better. But that's my answer. I don't know a ton about their growth that they've had maybe in the last part of the season and this offseason. But I just think the offense needs to be on the field more.
One of my issues with what the Bengals did is actually what they didn't do in the offseason is shore up the running back position. Zach Moss is a number 2 running back. Fantasy numbers come and go for him. Sometimes he has those weeks. Joe Mixon was the guy, and look how the Texans are treating him. You know what I mean? Giving him the bag, if you will. With Joe Burrow coming off of the injury that he's coming off of, I thought that it was absolutely necessary to, even if it's a guy like, God forbid I'm about to say this, but Zeke Elliott, even if it's a guy, you know what I mean, who just a bruiser that can give you a couple of yards at a time and do exactly what Caveman Rick said, because it's imperative for that offense to stay on the field to keep the young defense off the field, even if they are a year older here.
Well, I think what you're going to see is if they can keep Zach Moss healthy, which has always been the question mark with him, is you're going to see a young man named Chase Brown.
Yeah,
who didn't get a lot of reps last year, but when he did, he was big plays.
Right.
And he has that ability to make those big plays. Travion Williams is still there. He was the backup to Joe Mixon last year, had some really nice plays. He's a good run blocker as well. Zach Moss is the unknown, because it's like you said, one game you could see him out there and he's just destroying defenses. And then the next game, it's just ghost town, right? Where did he go? But Chase Brown is the biggest question mark in that offense. When you look at the tight end position, which had a lot of holes last year, they go out and they get Mike Gesicki. They've got Drew Sample still. They got Tanner Hudson. So they've still got some options there. They had a nice draft with the tight end position as well, the kid from Iowa. But Chase Brown is the X factor.
Gotcha.
We like to do X factors on the Afternoon Underdogs. That's the Bengals X factor for the offense.
Gotcha.
You know what you're going to get out of Chase. You know what you're going to get out of Higgins. I think you're going to see a different Mike Gesicki in this offense. But Chase Brown, I think, is the guy that if he starts doing what I think he's capable of, it could be a really, really nasty offense.
Hey, real quick, what do you think about the Bengals holding off? And I guess they're going to say they're going to attack the Jamar Chase deal maybe like after this season. Like
I think it's smart. I think you let Chase and Higgins both focus on the season at hand. I mean, Chase wants to be there, right? I mean, they drafted him 5th overall when everybody thought they should have taken Penei Sewell. They did that to keep him there with Joe, or to get him there with Joe Burrow. I think they do whatever's necessary to keep him there.
I'm sure he wants to be there if they're going to pay him what he wants, though.
But the thing is what happens every single year at the end of the year? The salary cap goes up.
Yeah, so you have a little bit more money.
So why go ahead and do it right now when you can wait a year and you can pay him more money, but your salary, but you're not going to be.
You can always redo a deal, though. You can always pay him more money. That's never not an option. They can find ways, bonuses, signing. You know what I'm saying?
True.
They can find ways to pay guys money.
True,
That's never an excuse.
But trying to limit the distraction because they're going to have enough of them with. The Joe Burrow, can he stay healthy?
Because if Joe Burrow, let's say Joe Burrow goes down within like the first.
Don't do this.
I know, but I'm just saying. Well, I wasn't even going to go that way because I think that as long as Joe Burrow is a part of the Cincinnati Bengals, Jamar Chase is going to want to stay. But it does bring up a good point. But my other one is, do you just go ahead and trade T. Higgins at that point to try to get something from him because or do you do that anyways? Because I don't think T. Higgins is wearing a Bengals jersey next year. So do you try to get something for him this year?
Depends on what you're doing in the season, right?
Right. And that's what I'm saying. If Joe Burrow goes down, then that tendency.
Right. But the thing is if Jake Browning is able to come in and do what he did last year and keep them afloat with a better offense and a better defense, then no. I mean, I think you still try to revisit that. But obviously, if, God forbid, Joe Burrow goes down again
I
for
just
any
wanted to
length
hear
of
you
time,
say that.
goes down for any length of time, then you need to start kind of addressing that and seeing if you can, put some other pieces around him to help him when he comes back the next year, if that's the case.
I would think if he gets hurt again, if you're a guy like Jamar Chase, you got to question his durability and say, hey, maybe do I want to go play someplace else with a quarterback that's going to be healthy the whole season that I do have an opportunity to win?
It's a risk whether you stay there or whether you go somewhere else, man.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody gets hurt at some point in time. It just depends on the severity, right?
Jamar Chase to the Saints. Him and Derek Carr.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Some free agent running backs out there, though. Dalvin Cook, I think, past his prime. Joshua Kelly, I don't know. How about 31? Kareem Hunt, though? Kareem Hunt to be like a third down running back for you guys.
Again, his time is over.
Who's y'all's kicker?
McPherson?
He could always spell him too if need be. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're gonna dive into something or another. Oh, you know what? We might ask ourselves a little trivia question when we get back to give you guys an opportunity to win $25 to Swampy Jack's Wongo Adventures, amusement rides, mini golf, and go-karts. We'll be right back after this.
ESPN Northwest Florida, available on all your devices.
Connected.
Hear your favorite sports talk hosts.
On the Coach James Hale Show. You're listening to the Inside Drive live.
The Afternoon Underdog.
And your favorite teams.
Braves winning!
We're live on the app. Tune in, Alexa, ESPNPC.com, Facebook, YouTube, and in your car at 101.9 and 104.3. Wherever you go, there we are. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, a possibility of thunderstorms and sprinkles and a low of 80 with wind 3 to 7 miles per hour out of the southwest. Likely thunderstorms and light showers tomorrow morning and hot near 87. Likely thunderstorms and sprinkles in 88 in the afternoon and evening. 89 and some sun in the early morning and then a chance of thunderstorms Friday. This is your Wednesday's weather brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
It's time to pick your path and go big and go bold from Bill Burr Kia. You can drive away in a brand new 2024 Telluride from Bill Burr Kia. The 2024 Telluride protects what matters, and it's built for the long haul. Its technology will connect with confidence, and its upscale, all-around rugged look will take you on to the next adventure. The road is yours. Bill Burr Kia, the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us today at 2435 East 15th Street or BillBurrKia.com.
Discover the most convenient way to buy men's clothing. Pierce Bespoke. Whether it's custom or casual, they come to you to take the hassle out of shopping. If buying off the rack doesn't work for you, let Pierce Bespoke show you how to get the perfect fit. Call Pierce Bespoke to schedule your appointment. 251-278-8270. That's 251-278-8270.
We are live and local. From Camp Helen State Park to the historic Martin Theater.
Definitely time to let our hair down and have some fun.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It is our final segment of the afternoon here on the Afternoon Underdogs. You guys have been listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, and you will continue to listen to ESPN Northwest Florida after the show, as Paul Feinbaum is going to be taking over. I'm David Hayes along with Adam Goff and Caveman Rick. We have our fantasy draft coming up August 25th, 6:30 p.m. at PCB Hobby. We are filled, but we have room on the waiting list. If you'd like to get on the waiting list for the Fantasy Football League, text in your name and your email to 850-215-6290. We had a little cross country with the ball today to get the Olympics underway. USA taking on France. What do you think the final was there?
4-0 France.
All right. If you guys take your numbers and do a little subtraction with them, you'll get the correct answer.
3-0.
3-0. 3-0 was the correct answer. At halftime, I believe it was 0-0 at that point in time. So not a great way to start for the United States men's team, but hey, I guess you're taking on France, and that is what it is. What are some of the events you guys are looking forward to? Are there any events that you're looking forward to in this Summer Olympics?
Golf, I think, is going to be interesting. Obviously, the basketball event is always there as well. Are they doing baseball again this year?
I don't think they're doing baseball.
I would love to see baseball again, but I think we get that with the WBC though too. So
I like the World Baseball Classic version better than what I like the Olympics without baseball players, or without MLB players over there playing, because it's worse off for all the countries, because so many countries have their guys over here playing, and unless they stagger the All-Star game to go along with or the All-Star break rather to go along with the Olympic break, you'll miss out on a lot of great ball players there. Panhandle Hurricanes have their tryouts at the Lynn Haven Rec Center. That's going to be July 28th. They have 7U through 10U from 1 to 3 p.m. and then from 3 to 5 p.m. they'll be holding the tryouts for 11U through 13U. According to thescore.com, we've got 10 athletes to watch in the Olympics. Simone Biles with gymnastics, Sydney McLaughlin-Levron from she's doing track and field, Katie Ledecky doing some swimming there. She they had the pool set up at Indianapolis there at the Colts Stadium. She was beating people by like 20 seconds or whatnot, or 20 seconds or better in some of those events. She like swept all the events over there. So watch out for her over there in swimming. I do enjoy watching the swimming now. Ever since Michael Phelps did his thing over there, I feel like that's one of the events that I can kind of get into. Some of the racing, some of the track and field stuff's just, it's hard. Like maybe, I don't know if it's the broadcast. I don't know what it is, but
I think it's the meters. It's the metric system.
Yeah. You just get me all confused.
It's like, well, this is 40 meters, this is 400 meters, and it's like, okay, how many football fields is that?
Right. How many
Translate it for me.
Yeah, give it to me in yards, brother. Come on. Carissa Moore is going to be doing surfing. These are all USA athletes, obviously. Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes beach volleyball. Sha'Carri Richardson, track and field. Congratulations on her to making the Olympic team. Noah Lyles, also track and field. Katie Grimes, swimming. So that's 3 swimmers on the 10 athletes to watch here. Oh, no, 2 swimmers, rather. I was surfing, swimming, same thing, right? Chase Budinger, beach volleyball. Where do you know that name from?
Arizona basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, and NBA, he's going to be the first person to ever play in the NBA.
Could jump out of a gym.
Yeah, and he's going to jump out some sand as well, playing some beach volleyball. And then Casey Kaufhold with some archery. And then it was announced today that the Winter Olympics in 2034 are going to be held in Salt Lake City.
Nice.
All right, so you'll be able to drink again in Salt Lake City, man, for a little while the Olympics are going on. Woo! They like to throw those rules and stuff out the window when they have big events up there.
A little probation on the prohibition, if you will.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, good stuff, man. 850-215-6290. That is the number to call. Let's see. You want to talk trade deadline, or do you want to keep it rolling with NFL?
Trivia question.
Oh, trivia question. Yeah, we'll go back to that. The trivia question for today is how many NFL stadiums use real grass instead of artificial turf? Now, how many stadiums are there in the NFL?
32.
There's not 32.
31 because of the
There's 30.
Yeah, share.
There's 30 because there's 2 teams that share. The Giants and the Jets share the Meadowlands, and then you have 30. SoFi Stadium with the Chargers and the Rams. How many NFL stadiums use real grass instead of artificial turf? For $25 to Swampy Jack's Wongo Adventures, amusement rides, mini golf, and go-karts. You can call in with your answer right now, 850-215-6290. I'll tell you this, it's more than 0, but it's less than 30.
All right.
There you go.
Pretty good hint right there, I would say.
Yep.
All right. And it is in the double digits. How about we do that? All right. It's between the numbers of 10 and 30. So you have multiple choice. I don't know how many letters that is, but I know how many numbers it is. You got 20 different choices right there. 850-215-6290. We'll also throw in a 12-pack from Buffalo Rock. All right. NFL or spring or trade deadline.
Let's go NFL. We've been talking a lot of baseball.
All right then. Let's go to a question that we had from Kyle Albrecht. That would be great if we were getting questions here from Kyle Albrecht. Like, my man, took a little break off of Call of Duty for a little bit there, huh? Great stuff. No, Kyle Albrecht earlier said, he's texted so many times since then that it's going to be hard to find it. If you were the Cardinals, would you take Justin Fields or Kyler Murray?
I think Kyler Murray. I think what he showed at the end of last year when he finally started getting his feet back under him, coming off the ACL injury, I feel like you're going to see a different Kyler Murray this year. I know that the new coaching staff and everything else has been, heaping a lot of praise on him here this preseason or leading up to this preseason. So we'll see what he does. I mean, I think Harrison is a really, really nice weapon. We'll see what that running back room can do, but I think you're going to see a lot different Kyler Murray than what we've seen in a couple years ago. And
kind of back and fully healthy this year, so that's going to add to it. I really would like to, since it's Wednesday, what if Justin Fields doesn't get hurt last year? And let's say that the Bears find their way into a playoff spot. Obviously, they still draft Caleb Williams because they're just so in love with the idea of a generational quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I just wonder, do you hold on to Justin Fields at that point? Because, I mean, what you gave him up for a Gatorade water bottle.
Essentially, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question, right? I think Max can probably answer this better than most of us, but I said going into the draft, I think, before the trade, I said, I think you hold on to Justin Fields because he's still on that rookie contract.
He knows the system.
He knows the system. He knows the personnel. And if you have him coming off the bench in that system behind Caleb Williams, and then come trade deadline, you have all these injuries that are abounding around the league. You have a really, really nice trade piece.
I would say keep Fields, or I would take Fields over Kyler Murray, not to keep him as my quarterback, because I can flip him and get more for him than I could Kyler Murray, and that's the reason why that would be my answer.
You think that you could get
Because of the contract.
Yeah.
Oh, because of the contract.
Yeah, I think you can get more for Fields, way more. Well, and then there's also still you got that mystery where you know that there's coaches out there and GMs that can think, hey, we can turn this guy into something. There's always people out there that can always, like, they got that idea in their head with people. And I think the mystery or that, obscurity kind of helps too.
Yeah, man, it's wild to me with the size the size advantage that Justin Fields has over Kyler Murray. And I'm with you guys too for the Cardinals. Like, let's say that I'm getting this guy not for flipping or anything. Like, who do I want to be the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals? Did Justin Fields ever have the opportunity to play with Marvin Harrison Jr.?
At Ohio State?
Because Marvin Harrison Jr. would have been a junior last year. Justin Fields was there 2 years ago, right?
No, 3 years ago.
Okay. So maybe didn't get the opportunity. But, I mean, that could be interesting, too, or at least just having the Ohio State connection. Nate, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, playing a little trivia with us this afternoon. How you doing, my man?
Good, how are you?
Wonderful. How many NFL stadiums use real grass instead of artificial turf?
15.
How many did you say?
15, 1-5.
That's not the number that I have. Do you, I've got a different number on this side of things.
Okay.
All right.
15 use at least a combination of natural grass.
So you're talking about like a turf grass mixture?
Yeah, a hybrid.
You know what? What are we going to do here? How about we do this? We compromise and I give you $10 off to Swampy Jacks.
Here, why don't we do this? You tell us who your favorite NFL team is, and if we like them, we'll give it to you.
Oh.
You liked them earlier today, the Browns.
Oh, I don't like the Browns. I'm a Bengals fan.
He likes what they're capable of, though. That is for sure. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to go to the place where I found the trivia question. I'm going to type it live into Google. How many NFL stadiums use grass? Because I'm sure that's what you did to find the answer, right?
Yep.
All right, so AI is going to tell us 15 as of October 2023 use natural grass or hybrid grass. And so since that's what AI said, that's the age that we're headed into anyways.
Right.
AI's always got to be right. We're just going to, there you go. We're going to go, woohoo! Google is the way to win trivia on the Afternoon Underdogs, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the only way.
It's the only way. Nate, thanks so much for calling in, man. Let Caveman Rick grab some information. Is this Nate that's going to be playing fantasy football with us?
Yep.
Awesome, man. Well, can't wait to see you August 25th, my friend. Take care. You have a great evening. And, hey, man, hopefully those Browns can stick in this AFC North. I think it'll make it a lot. It will make it a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, for you, Nate, real quick.
Sorry.
It's all good, my friend. Deshaun Watson or Jameis Winston, Tyler Huntley, which direction do you want to see the Browns go? Obviously, you got to put the money out there, but which way do you think it ends up?
So, if Deshaun Watson is healthy and returns to form, you can't not play him. But, I don't like him. I think he's a dirtbag. And I would, honestly, I'm from Utah, so I would like to see Huntley do well. I'm not a Utah fan. I'm a BYU fan, but yeah, I'd like to see Huntley do well.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, we are looking forward to this season coming up. Thanks so much for the call. And as I said, just hang on the line real quick. Caveman Rick's going to grab some info from you.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Awesome. So, yeah, looking here a little deeper at an ESPN article, it says 15 as well. That's one of the other things is it's hard to trust. A lot of the times I go back and I look up an answer just to try to confirm or make sure. But with one like this, it's like, I don't think it holds. It's honestly surprising seeing that there was, my answer was 16, or the answer that I was given was 16, but it's still kind of surprising seeing that there's 15 and all the complaining that goes on about, the argument between turf and grass, which I think that there is a absolutely fair argument to be, or a fair debate there. And I think if the athletes want grass and you're willing, and some of these stadiums are willing to change it over to grass for some soccer players, and no offense to the soccer players. I do not mean that to be offensive at all, but the reason this stadium was built was to host football games.
Right.
Change it over to grass if that's what the players and the coaches want, right?
Yep. Here's a question for you.
All right.
Jaden Daniels gets the starting nod in Washington, and if so, how does he fare?
Oh, that one's tough. I mean, you got Scary Terry over there. You got Brian Robinson Jr. You got running back from
Dotson.
Yeah, but the running back from L.A.
Eckler,
Austin Eckler, who is not. I don't think that. The reason why he left the Chargers was because he didn't want to have a tote the ball over 300 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that he'll be great in the passing game. I think that you're looking at one of the better rookie quarterbacks. I mean, who are the quarterbacks that we think are going to be starting as rookies? Bo Nix, more than likely, is going to be starting. I think you're going to have Caleb Williams is obvious. Drake May, we already know, isn't going to start unless something happens in training camp. I think that he'll be one of 3 rookie quarterbacks that'll be starting.
I don't think Drake May's beating out Jacoby Brissett. I think Brissett's been named as a starter.
He's already been named QB1, right. But unless something happens,
Cousins has to come back and not be hurt for Penix.
True that. Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy, I think that it's pretty. I think that it's going to be a QB competition, according to O'Connell.
Darnold's got the edge.
I think Darnold gets the edge there. I would say that Jaden Daniels could be the best rookie quarterback this year. Could be. However, what the Bears did around, oh my gosh, we're out of time. Yeah. You guys have been riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Paul Feinbaum coming up next. Coach James Hill Show will be live with you at 7. Inside Drive back at 11. The Afternoon Underdogs will be back tomorrow at 4. Y'all take care out there. Be safe. And just remember, Jesus loves you, so do I.
America's team plays here.
And a rocket to right field. This thing is into orbit.
The Atlanta Braves on ESPN Northwest Florida. Acuna, Ozzie, and Austin Riley lead the Braves' high-powered offense.
Swung on.